Langston comes within an eyelash last season of winning the national championship, and now Coach Wright assembles what may be his most talented team. We're going to talk Lions basketball with Chris Wright. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. After the heartbreak loss last season in the championship game, Chris Wright has come back and he's loaded up a very talented team. It may be his most talented ever. They also bring Danny Neville in as an associate head coach. This team is going to be one to reckon with. We're going to talk to Coach Wright about last season's heartbreak loss, as well as this season's team he's put together, as well as how he builds his culture. Let's listen to Coach Chris Wright, head men's basketball coach, Langston Lions. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Coach Chris Wright on the line. He's the head men's basketball coach at Langston University. Welcome, Coach. Thank you so much.
Billy D., always good to talk to you.
So you're busy in the lab, as they say. I've seen some videos of your practices. I want to go backward just for a moment. I'm sure you're sick of talking about it, but everybody knows that the last 40 seconds to 1 minute of the last season. My question is a little different maybe, is what lesson did you take away from that, and how did that experience make you a better coach?
I think going through that and kind of losing in the way we did, really made me have to evaluate a lot of things. And just, so I don't know. I think, I'm definitely going to try to enjoy the season a little bit more than I have in past years, because obviously it's really hard to do what we did, right? There's no guarantee we'll ever be back there. And so that can't be just the end all be all. It can't just all be about that.
You brought down Danny Neville as your associate head coach. I talked to him early in the season. I think he was my first. Yeah, he was episode 1 this season. So how has that worked out? Have you had to fire him yet?
No, definitely haven't.
Put that guy on a short leash.
Man, hey, he's awesome. He has made me a lot better coach. He's made our program a lot better. I think we've had a lot of fun, working together. We have probably had 1 million people ask me, like, how's that going to work?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we both, I don't know. I think we both just want to win games. And yeah, so it's been a great match so far.
What are some of the things that Danny brings to the table that you found really valuable?
I think, his ability to relate to our players. He's got a great relationship with them. I think, having been a head coach for as long as he was and very successful, I think he just has, right, as an assistant, kind of a different mindset because he's been a head coach for so long. And so I think, both those ways, it's going to pay huge dividends for us.
I told you that I saw some videos, or at least one, out of one of your practices, and this is just from a few seconds on a video, but the defense drill you were running, it looked to me more like Talladega, your last year there, where your last season with Langston, you were a good defensive team, but I thought that the pressure on the perimeter was less than what you had at Talladega. Number one, am I wrong? And number two, is that a focus of yours to try to push that pressure more out to the perimeter?
I think it's, similar. I think what we had at Talladega, which allowed us to maybe pressure a little bit more even, was just how long and how big we were inside.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And,
so more of a personnel issue.
I think so.
Okay. You got a lot of guys. Are they all on campus?
Yeah. Hey, everyone made it here. You always worry about that. Recruiting's never done until everybody actually gets to you. So yeah, we've been really pleased with our new guys and how they're working so far.
I was teasing, I went out to College, Idaho this year and did a show there. And I was day one of school, and I was teasing Colby about that because it was day one of school. I asked him, have you done a head count yet? That's always the most important day of the year, right? That day one head count. Because sometimes you get surprised. You know that, Coach.
Yeah, those surprises are never good. So thankfully, we were able to avoid those.
I got another question before we start talking about your team this year. You build teams a little bit different than most everybody in the country. You pretty much build a team each year, and you've been highly successful at it. I mean, nobody can second guess what you've been able to do. But my question is, you're bringing in basically new guys. You have to rebuild the culture every year. Is that exhausting? And how do you achieve that?
Yeah, it can be exhausting, right? I think last year for us, you saw like the power of having a core group of returners back, right? Like just because we had Teru Dean, Cortez Mosley, Demonte Brown for a couple of years, Sharif Knox. So I feel like last year that wasn't the case, right? Like the guys already knew our standards, they knew what we expect, knew what we were about, and so I felt like it was easier to get some of the new guys to fall into line, right? Whereas this year, we don't have anybody back that was in our rotation. So we're starting from scratch.
That's true. Last year you did have quite a few key guys coming back. That probably did help a lot, didn't it? But it's just the way you build your teams it just seems like it'd be harder.
In some aspects, obviously for us, our goal is to we want to be the most talented team in the country. Right. And so, oftentimes a lot of those guys have, maybe 1 year left. And so I think for me, I would rather trade off some of those, you're going to have growing pains the more turnover you have. But if our talent's towards the top in the country, we know we're going to have a chance to achieve our goals.
Coach, let's talk about some of your roster this season. One of the first things that I notice is you definitely brought in a couple of they're good bigs. You and I were just talking about 6'9", Josh Smith. He played at Mountain View JC. 11 rebounds, 4 blocks. The guy's a stopper in the middle, and he knows how to rebound the ball.
Hey, we're really excited about Josh. I mean, you mentioned he put up huge numbers in junior college. He's a mid-major player. Just kind of had clock issues because he started school right out of high school and then was just working for a few years. And decided to go back to college and play. But he's a great student and an unbelievable person. To get a guy like that has 3 years left, I feel like it's kind of he's kind of a unicorn.
So what is he then? Basketball age? What year? So he'll
only be a sophomore.
Okay, you could potentially have him a couple more years after this. Wow, he's the real deal in the middle, though, isn't he?
He is. He's really skilled, man. And the scary thing, I think he's just scratching the surface of how good he can actually be. Just because he's only played 1 year of college basketball. So, yeah, we love him. Obviously, Coach Neville coached a pretty good post player at Jamestown, and one of our first practices this year, he just talked about how he thinks he's Mason Walters good. And so if he could get close to that, we would definitely welcome it.
And then also in the middle, you got Tim, and this is a name I'm going to have to work on this year, Ego Heffy?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Is that close?
That's close. We'll take it, Billy D.
He started 21 games at Georgetown, not Georgetown, Kentucky, Georgetown. And he's a legit 7-footer. With him and Josh in the middle, just talk about those two.
So he's a legitimate 7-footer. I mean, he is huge, just an absolutely space eater inside. And I think you see why he was at Georgetown and he's pretty skilled. He has the best ability I've ever coached in being able to pin and seal guys. And so I think he's going to help us get a lot of easy baskets. And so, we'll always have one of those two guys on the floor. And so, man, we're really excited about being able to punish people inside.
You're going to out-rebound a lot of people, Coach. At Georgetown, he averaged 6 rebounds. That's a lot in that conference.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a force on the glass. He's a great offensive rebounder because of his size, but he also has a knack for it. And so, yeah, he's a guy that has a high ceiling.
You needed a point guard. You went out and got Bryce Monroe out of Sam Houston. He was freshman of the year, his freshman year there. This is a sophomore year. He had 13 starts. This guy can run the offense.
And he's a talent, but also a great kid, has a great IQ. Definitely makes everyone around him better. And so, yeah, I think he's probably as good of a point guard as I've ever coached. And so it'll be exciting to have the ball in his hands a lot.
How tall is he, Coach?
So he's about 5'10".
So, he's a midget on this team. Because you and I were just talking about Jameson Epps a few minutes ago out of Northwestern State. He was an All-American at JUCO. 18 points, 10 rebounds, Region 9 Player of the Year. He's 6'7", right? That guy, that guy
He
can
is.
play. That guy can score the ball.
So he'll start at the 3 for us most likely. Can really post. I just think he's a mismatch problem. If you put somebody bigger on you, he can really drive it and finish off 2 feet in the paint. And then if a smaller guy, he can take to the basket. So, yeah, I think he's going to be extremely productive for us.
So you got to be excited about this group you've got in. Talk about the anticipation when you guys as a coaching staff look at this. I mean, what is your gut feel of this team? I know it's super early, Coach, but what's your gut feel of this?
Oh, I like them. I think we have a chance. Again, I think it's getting through some of the growing pains of just getting guys on the same page. I think we have a really high ceiling. I worry about some tough games in November and December, and we've been fortunate and haven't lost one like the past 3 seasons. So if we lose a couple games the first semester, I just can't go off the deep end, right?
Well, I was going to talk to you about that. I was looking at your schedule. You're gonna play in the Abe Lemons Classic. Where is Mission University?
So they used to be Baptist Bible. So they just changed their name.
And then you play the Masters. They're going to bring it, and that's going to be on November 2nd. And then things get really easy. You go down and you play Paul Quinn in Austin. This is unreal. On November 14th, you kick off conference play. Wow, that's early. Why do you guys start so early?
At Wayland Baptist.
Yeah, at Wayland. And they'll be waiting for you, Coach. They're going to have a welcome sign for you.
So we have played 24 conference games this year, Billy D.
Oh, that's right. You guys, that's right. That's right. So then you just kick off into that, and that doesn't leave you a lot of room to. I say you're going to play Oklahoma Wesleyan. That'll be a really good, challenging game for you. But that's it. That's all the opportunity you get to play outside your conference. Well, luckily you're in a strong conference, so you'll get tested all year.
For sure. You just would like that. Probably not the funnest thing in the world to be playing meaningful conference games, right? The second week of November. But hey, it kind of is what it is, and we'll have to find a way to try to be ready for that game.
I think I've asked this before, but how far of a drive is it? The trip to like Wayland?
It's about 5.5 hours.
Well, that's a pretty good trip. And then do you come all the way back? Because 2 days after that, you play Panhandle. So
we will just stay the night in Plainview and then drive up to play Panhandle the next day.
Oh, okay. Well, that takes 2 school days away from guys. Well, no, 3, right? Because you would you leave Wednesday, or I'm just nosy here. Would you leave Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, we'd leave Wednesday.
Yeah, that makes a long week for the guys, doesn't
challenging
it?
Trip.
I asked you about the feeling of the coaching staff. What's the mood around campus? You got students back now. They got a good taste of a great team last year that just kind of mowed through most of the season. What is the feeling on campus? What are people saying to you? Are they probably just expecting you to do the same thing again, aren't they?
Yeah, I joke with a lot of people. Everyone thinks that we're just going to snap our fingers and be right back in the national championship game. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. We're blessed. We have a lot of people on campus that are excited, but I don't think people quite understand how hard it is to do what we did last year.
That's one thing that I just don't think fans in general understand how difficult it is to even make Kansas City, how difficult it is even to get into the final 32. There's a lot of things have to go right. Guys have to stay healthy. There's just so many things that have to happen, and to make even to the final 4, it's just so tough. You got to relish it when you get there, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And it goes by so quickly. You look up and right, the whole week in Kansas City is a blur. It's really hard to have special seasons like that, and they don't come every year. So I know I'm trying to get to a point where I can enjoy the success that we've had a little bit more.
Well, it's got to help that you get so much support there at the school. I mean, you guys get great crowds there, and the excitement at Langston is some of the best in the country.
Definitely love our home court advantage. We're 33-0 at home since we've gotten here, and so it is a very unique and fun environment. As
you get this team ready, the 3 or 4 keys.
I think just getting guys to buy into their roles. This is probably the deepest team that I've ever coached, and so. I think we have 11 or 12 guys that are good enough to start for us. And so just getting guys to accept that and to buy into whatever role we have for them.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be big early.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about the conference. Like you say, it's grown, but it's always tough. Just talk about what you see in the conference this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think our conference is, man, top to bottom is obviously really good. A lot of really challenging places to play. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be, a good year for our league. When you look at, right, I think Wayland Baptist is going to be really good. Well, MacU is really good. Nelson University, I think they're going to have a chance to have an unbelievable year. And then, you look at kind of the teams that were in the middle of the pack that I think are really going to, take a step forward. So, yeah, it'll be tough as always.
Nelson, that's going to be tough getting used to that name change, isn't it? That's Sagu was Sagu. I'm going to mess that up all year. And you added College of the Ozarks. Yeah, anyway, it's going to be a great conference, great season. Be interesting to see if the style changes at Science and Arts with the new coach there. But, it's going to be, I think it'll be a good year there. You're looking forward to it, huh? You ready to go? I mean, you only got almost 3 weeks. Almost 3 weeks.
Billy D, why are you trying to give me anxiety, man?
No. It don't take me to give you anxiety. I've watched you on the sideline. And for anybody who doesn't know this guy, if you just watch him on the sideline, you probably won't like him. You got to get to know him. He's a human being. On the sideline, he's a coach. You're very, animated. That's the word. First time I saw you coach, I couldn't believe how much energy you had. I thought you were going to check in.
Hey, that wouldn't be very good for us if I did. So I'll stay in the suit.
I was talking to, I interviewed Brandon Durnell. He played it up at Spring Arbor. He's coaching high school basketball now. And I said, well, what was the toughest thing for you to get used to? He says, man, I wanted to check in. I wanted to get in there. I couldn't just stand sitting on the sidelines. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes this morning. I know it's a real busy time of year for you, but thank you very much for taking the time.
Hey, always good talking to you, Billy D. I appreciate you.
Okay, pass the word on to Neville that we've got him on a short leash.
I'll definitely let him know.
That's Chris Wright. He's the head men's basketball coach, Langston University. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you, man. Hey, good talking to you, sir. Take care.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Also, please like and subscribe this show wherever you watch or listen to it. It helps a lot. And if you have a question you'd like answered on the show, just send me a note at cascadehoopstalk@gmail.com or just shoot me a DM on Twitter. I hope you enjoyed the show. Enjoy your day. We'll see you next time. Yours truly, Billy D. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAI school because NAI basketball is the best entertainment value in America.